Hey, what's going on, everybody? Back from vacation. Had a wonderful trip to Italy. I don't know if I put the video out or not before you see this, but if not, I'm going to put a video out. It was an awesome trip, and I'm so glad to be back. I'm glad to be back working on this structure, waiting on Jones to show up. And today what we're going to do is we're going to try to figure out this situation. I need to figure out and get this cut out where the garage door is going to go, so that way I can start to trim all of this up, and that way I can start to put my siding on. Well, I'll tell you, I got good news and I got bad news and bad news. Bad news is that Ray's blood sugar is out of whack, so he's not going to make it today. He's got to go to the doctor, which he needs to definitely go and take care of that. Number two is that there's no instructions in any of these boxes for these garage doors to figure out how to put this thing in, so that's a problem. But the good news is it's freaking beautiful. Look at that thing. Oh my gosh, it's gonna look so good. All glass in this thing. Dude, super stoked, but I have no idea how to put it together. Time has come. My man John here from Elders Ace Hardware in Bryson City has got my TNG. Looks like there's no machine for us to take that off, huh?
We normally dump it, but today I'm gonna hand unload it since it's turning through.
Oh, sweet, nice. So I got 16 foot boards, 8-inch, and it's some kind of pine, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Again, Jonathan, thank you very much for working with Building Jay's Way. We're going to get this in the shop, get it prepped up, and get into the structure. All right, well, John and I made easy work of that. The only thing I'm worried about is that I'm definitely putting these Dewalt sawhorses to the test. I don't know, man. They're made of steel, metal. I don't know. We'll see if I come out in the morning, these things are on the ground. But so I did just run into one small problem. Is I don't have a roller. So I need to run up to Oxford's and grab just a junky roller. So before I get going too crazy on staining all this wood that I need, I'm going to make sure Stephanie likes the look of it first. I guess the next thing there is to do, even though I don't want to do it because Steph approved the color, is to start staining all these. So I'm going to put a nice coat of stain on them, let them dry on my stickers. Now, I don't have enough stickers, I think, to do all of them. I need 35 boards because I figured it out. I'm only going to stain each back wall, which is 32 and 32, and then the ceiling, which is 288. So it's like 352 square feet, and then each of these boards covers about 10 square foot. So I need about 35 boards. So I don't want to stain more than I need because the other ones are getting painted. So I'm going to do about 35 boards. If I have room to stack them, I'll stack them. If not, I'll just do what I can. And then I'll get a coat of poly on them, maybe tomorrow morning. And then maybe even tomorrow afternoon, maybe if they dry, Steph and I can get a few pieces up and see what it's going to look like. All right, I hate to brag. But no, I do like to brag. Everybody likes to brag a little bit. But I freaking killed that. I knocked those out the park. 35. Boom. And you'll see in the time lapse, about halfway through, I bought this pad thing to actually put the poly on with. But I was like, dude, that's got to probably be faster than doing the rag. So I hit that thing and, whoo, man, I was flying. The only thing I had to do is I had to go back and see that little crack right there. If that doesn't get done, you'd probably see it up there. You'd see little white streaks everywhere. So I made sure I went back with the rag and ran my finger along that line right there just to make sure that it's 100% done. So that's a good pro tip, making sure that all that's done. On the back side, there's just a little bit of bevel here, not too much, but you won't see inside that. You'll see this, if anything. So now I just need to put some poly on them. But the problem is I need to get all of this over there, poly it, and then put it all back over here again. So that's going to be the first step, is moving these. And then I'll show you how I'm going to put some poly on these bad boys. I got another one of these pads from my local Ace Hardware there. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to put it on thick. so that way we can get away with one coat. So I'm just gonna go like this, kind of get some poly all over my pad there. And then what I do is, this is a trick I do, because you know, if I just put the pad down totally flat, all the poly is gonna come off right here, and there's not gonna be any down on that end. So what I do is I get some poly on there, and then I'll touch the back edge here and then kind of roll it as I go so that the poly gets kind of spread around. So I'll go like this, and then I'll go and roll it to the front like that, and then we'll go down here. And we're gonna hope that this one gets it. And as you can see, it's puddling up a little bit, which is good. That means there's enough on there. And then what we're gonna do there is, just so that we get a nice lay down, is I'm gonna take a brush here, and I'm gonna run down one edge, and then back down this edge. And that should have gotten it. And what I can do is I can look down the board and I can see if there's any dry spots. Like I can see a dry spot right there. So, because what's gonna happen is once my pad gets a little bit more saturated, see there's a dry spot I think right there. Once my pad gets a little bit more saturated, it'll work a lot better. So this first couple I might need to just kind of feather it in there a little bit, just to make sure that I'm getting it on there. I mean, that looks pretty wet. That's one, and just 34 more to go, but that one pretty quick. And like I said, once my pad gets a little more saturated, it's gonna go nice and easy. So I'm not gonna lie, these freaking boards are sexy. Like, I'm gonna seriously say they're sexy. And I'm really impressed by the quality of this material from Ace. I wouldn't think, you know, an Ace Hardware would have this kind of good quality, but I've done half the boards. I've got 35 stained and polyed, and there's 35 left I'm gonna paint. But I don't think I've culled one board. I'll be able to use every one of those boards. And I said the word cull, and I think that's right. And I remember when I first started working with Perkins, I was like, what'd you just say? They were like, cull. I'm like, coal? No, cull. I was like, I didn't know what it meant. But that means that a board's no good to use. But there might be a couple ends that need to be cut off a couple inches. But for the most part, it's great material. It's staining great. It looks fantastic. And I'm super excited to throw that up next week, Friday, hopefully. Charlie, Nana's been telling me you've been jumping off the deck. Is that true? Nana told me that the dogs now have been jumping off the deck, so that means I need to do something here. I guess I'm just going to do something low that they won't go under or they won't try to jump over. Something like that, I guess. Charlie. These boards here, I'll just put one up probably like that. I don't think they'll jump over that. So I'll put this one somewhere like here. This is why I got a new drill. My bit keeps falling out. So I guess something like that will hopefully work. I'm trying to make it to where they won't crawl underneath it or won't jump over it. I don't want to put more than one, but let's see what that does for a couple days. Crazy dogs. Everybody knows Charlie. She's been in all the videos. And this is Addie. She's our other doggy. And she's a 9-year-old plot hound. And she's also a rescue. Hi, baby. And if you haven't figured it out yet, we love our dogs. And they are spoiled rotten. You two don't work too hard today. And we treat them just like family. And just like my kids, I tell my kids to eat healthy. So that's what I do. I make sure that my dogs eat healthy. And that's why we feed them Sundays for Dogs. Sundays is fresh dog food made from human grade ingredients like you and I would eat. We're talking 100% meat muscle organs, and superfoods, and always zero synthetics or artificial preservatives. Sundays is vet formulated and made in the USA. I mean, this is what healthy dog food looks like.
Looks like meat.
Yeah, it does look like meat because it's real meat. So most healthy dog foods are usually frozen, messy, and just a pain to deal with. You need freezer space, you have to thaw them out, and sometimes you even have to cook it. Sundays is shelf stable, and for someone like me and my family that's on the go all the time, it makes feeding the dog so much easier. Just grab it, give it a scoop, boom, and go. The best part of it all is that they freaking love it. Here, baby, go, get it. And if you wouldn't eat it, why should they? Hey, so give your dogs a chance to try Sundays and watch them fall in love. Get 50% off your first order. Just go to sundaysfordogs.com/Jaysway or use my promo code Jaysway at checkout. Hey, Sundays for Dogs, thanks for hooking the puppies up with this awesome food and for sponsoring today's video. Let's get back to work. Good girl. I think I mentioned this before, but if I hadn't, I want to move this outlet over so that when I put this Santa Fe dehumidifier in, I still have room for the outlet cover. So I think that will give us enough room there for this thing to go in and the outlet cover. But also we need to run some electric for that bad boy. Let me see if I can knock that back one out back there. There we go. And that'll go up inside my unit. I'm almost tempted to put a piece in, to put one piece in right here, just to see what it looks like and how high up it goes, because I think it might be perfect 8 inches, like right here, and then the unit will sit right on top of the first piece. So, well, let me get a number. It'll be pretty easy, just do that, and why not? I got that first piece in, and that, I think that's gonna be good. I think that'll be nice. It's low enough to the floor. I got the outlet now out of the way so that the outlet cover will be able to fit. And it's just sitting on that first piece there. Now, these are made for a 2x6 wall. You can see there's a gap here. But she gave me a shroud that's going to go in there. I have it. Actually, it's on its way, so I don't have it yet. But once I get everything done, I'll get this thing installed. Perfect. But I could actually probably put a line right across the top of that right here with my level, and that will tell me where to go with my wood. That's such a good idea, Jay. Let me do that. Okay, that's enough for tonight. I got a piece in. Steph can at least look at it and see what it looks like. And then the Evolved Stone, let's see what that's gonna look like. Evolved Stone, Bob Stone. Anybody see that movie? I don't know. I'm delirious right now. So the Evolved Stone's gonna go like this. Oh yeah. It's coming, people, it's coming. Laying in bed last night, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, if I start just putting these one pieces in here, I need to make sure that that piece and that piece and that piece all line up around the bottom so that all of the seams line up. So what I did is I went out and I got my, remember I had this LASGO laser level. I did an ad for them a couple years ago, and this thing's been great. So I got this out. I set up on the deck here, and I got it right to the top edge of my piece there. So then all I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and just make some marks. So over here in the corner here, I got a mark. There's a mark. So I'll just make sure that those all line up, and then I think I got a mark over here. And I believe I have a mark over here. So when I do all the rest of those, I'll just chalk some lines all the way across. That way when I'm doing these bottom pieces, they all line up and I don't have to worry about it. So that's awesome. Makes me feel a bit better that this thing is going to be visually level all the way around. So these pieces are just going to end here, and I don't want them to go long, so I'm going to just leave them back a little bit. And also remember, these are going to go here, and then these are going to butt into this side, so it doesn't have to be bang tight. And then what I'll do is I'll just put it up where it's going to go, like that, and then I'll just make a couple tick marks. Like so. Okay, and I'll transfer these to the back because I want to cut this from the back. And then what we'll do is we'll take some numbers this way. I don't want to measure from the top of this because that's not where my piece is going to go. My piece is going to sit down in there. So I'm going to go from Down here, looks like 1 3/8 from the bottom, 5 3/8 short. Okay, now I gotta cut that out with my jigsaw. Now, you might have seen this trick before. You can get a drill and drill a hole and start from there, but you can actually plunge cut your jigsaw if you go nice and easy. So I'm gonna hold it like this on an angle. Voila. Okay, now I think cutting from the back is definitely the best way, because see, as I plunge that in, it didn't make the nicest cut, but it's on the back so you don't see it. Now when I flip it over, whoo, nice clean cut. Now let's see if it fits. I believe that's seated down in there nice. I'm not going past my stud here, so I'm going to shoot it. Now, again, I can shoot it here because that flange of the humidifier is going to cover this. Now, normally I wouldn't want to do that. I would just go in the top here, but here I can actually shoot it. And then I'll get one up here. And then again, over here, I can shoot it. If I shoot close to the edge, I can face hit nail it, because this piece is going to cover it. So I just don't want to go out more than 3/4. Now, I am shooting with 18s because I don't have any long 16s, which I think is fine on the wall. I'm just going to shoot the crap out of it. When I do the ceiling, I will use 16s because they're a little bit beefier to hold the material onto the ceiling. I think that's great now. So that should be my number. I'll go up here, take some numbers over there, and knock this out. Now I have a couple pieces going in, just like you would normally. Even though I'm spanning this gap, I just want to keep an eye on and making sure I'm still running level. That's pretty right on, because the problem is if I get up to my spot here where I need to transition over the top of it, if I'm totally off, it's not going to look great. So I've got to my transition spot where I need to be for above the humidifier. So now I'm going to take a full length. Let's go 51 3/4. 51 3/4. I know this side is 21 1/8. I know that this side is 13 1/8. So that's good there. Now I just need to get my number here. So from here up, I'm at 2 3/4. So I want to give a little bit of leeway. So I'm going to go let's go 2 13. That's good. Okay, 2 13 is a cutout. Put this in. There we go. Whack her down. We will check level just to play it safe. So this side should go down. This side could go down a touchy more. Alright, that's good. I do need to insulate from here up to make sure that that gets insulated before I go up any farther here. So for those of you who have been with us for a while, you might have seen we've done this TNG a lot of times in other houses. And when Arlo was around, he had this big, huge, massive chisel that we used to call the Cherokee chisel, and it was the best. And then he left, and we were sad. But he gave us parting gifts when he left, and we all got our own Cherokee chisel. This says Robert, I don't even know what that says, Sorby, and it's got my name on it, dude. Look at this thing. What would Arlo do?
That is super cool.
Yeah, and what we use this for is right here. Come on over here, Steph. I've come into my first spot where, even in this short board, you can see I'm touching tight there, and I'm touching tight here, but I'm actually gapped up in the center. Even in this little, small board here. So what we're going to do, the only way to get that down is I'm going to take my chisel, I'm going to put it against my stud there on a little bit of an angle. I'm going to whack it into my stud, and then watch right here, Steph. Boom. Now I just need that gun right there, if you wouldn't mind. So I've come to the top there, and I can see that I have a pretty big gap up there. What I could have done, I guess, I could have figured out my layout so that I didn't end up with a little ripper like that, and I could have ripped the bottom piece, but then I would have had to rip all the bottom pieces. So it was a little long, and also I had to put an angle on it because with it squared, it was hitting the roof too tight. So let me see if this goes in now. Oh yeah. See this beveled edge, but I don't know if that'll even look terrible. Now I guess if I ripped that bevel edge off of it, it would sit down tight, and I bet that would look great. I'm gonna start on this other side, and I have my tick marks from my laser level to make sure that this is the same height as over there. 7.5 or so. It looks like I might have to rip this one to make it the same length as over there. So let me see what these, let me just cut one to fit in here. 47.25, and then we'll put it up there and see where we're at. And I might have to rip a little bit off the bottom. And I'll put this down like that. Now it actually needs to come up a little bit, so that's fine, because I'm gonna have baseboard in here. So my kids have senior prom tonight, so I'm getting a little bit of heat from Steph about getting the house straightened away and cleaned up tonight, because we got some people coming over. So I need to stop for today, but it's gonna rain again, and these boards are sticking out past the thing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut off a couple off the ends just to make sure that I don't have this wood sticking out and that they're the right length. So I'm gonna cut a bunch at 47 and like 3/8. I'm gonna cut these last 3 here. That way they don't get soaking wet tonight. I am going old school, man. I got the old Senko gun out. I have a bunch of nails laying around on this. And this is the gun we always use when we're doing TNG, just because it's a little bit bigger gauge. I'm not even sure what it is. It's 15 gauge, so it's a little bit bigger. Nice hold on it, and I have extra nails, so I'm gonna use the compressor today. I know, and use this Senko gun today. I've reached a spot where my outlet box is really close to the top of my next board. So to get this to go in, it's gonna be a little bit harder. So what I'm gonna do is I have my piece cut out here, is I'm gonna take my jigsaw and I'm gonna try to scarf out the back of this. So I got rid of the whole groove on the back side, because there's a stud right there I can shoot it to. And that way I don't have to worry about anything trying to get over and engage in. But from the front, it still looks the same. So let's see how that plays out. Get my wires in here. Nice. So from here you can't tell that the back's not engaged. And I got a stud there. All this is holding it in there. So I think that's pretty good, man. Let's just check our level, make sure we're still running true there. Still bang on. Sweet. I'm also trying to figure out that I have about 20 inches till I get to here. So again, I don't want to have a little sliver across the front there. And these measure 20.5, but cut like, I don't know, 3 inches off and got to like 18. More of a piece like this going across the front, so it wouldn't just be like a little sliver. That might be a better plan too. I really need to get this garage cleaned up. I need to take all this material out there today. I'm gonna get it out there all straightened up and get all this material out here, and then I need to put all of this insulation underneath the deck, because I need to get all of this out of here. It's so in the way, it's not even funny. All right, so let me see if I can do this from this side. No, I need to do it from that side, but oh my gosh. All right, so I just got set on 3. I got the bevel set to 30 degrees. That should be enough to go down and hit there. And this way I got to run it this way so that it cuts the right angle. Gotta be joking me. I'm hitting the other wood. Hate to say it, but I need a bigger shop. And the reason I cut it on the table saw is because I wanted this to be a nice cut across the face there, obviously. So let's see how that works. See if I can get back out of here. And that looks good. I'm gonna shoot it. Let's look at what we got out to our face here. Like 16.5. So if I take these and go 16.5, yeah, that puts me like in half of a board. So that means that piece will be nice and thick going around. So I like that. I think that works. And again, like I said, if Stephanie wants a piece of trim, I can throw it in there. So I made my way over to this side, and I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna go and rip that first board down. I have my table saw already set. I didn't change the width of it, so it should be the same. I did measure from the back wall to the front of our plywood where our stone's gonna go, and it's the same distance. So I feel confident I can just rip that one the same way, put a couple pieces in, and then like I said, I will measure out there where it needs, the next piece is going to go, and I'll measure out here where the next piece is going to go, and then we'll just chalk a line through, and that way when I'm going through here, I make sure that it's going to be straight. So I've got up to where I need to be on both sides. Now I need to chalk a line. So I guess you could take a tape and pull a number on a piece and measure up, but I think the easiest thing to do is to take a piece of your material and just put it in where it goes, like that, and then make a mark. Now this one I need to be careful because there is a little bit of a bevel, so I need to make sure that I'm marking where I want it there. Let's make sure I'm seated all the way up in there. Make a mark there. So now I'm by myself, so what I'll do is I'll just put a screw or a nail in there, something to, oh, I just put some nails in this thing from Jamie's. We were putting siding up with them. Yeah, perfect nail. Pull her nice and tight. There we go. Boom. So I'm by myself again. So what I did is I just pegged a nail up into there, just something to hook my tape on so I can get my numbers. And when I pull my numbers for this cutout, I'm going to pull it all from one side, because if I went this measurement there and I went that measurement there, if my cut is short at all, it's going to mess up my measurements. So I think this is the easiest way to do it. I'm going to pull down to this, say 51 3/8. I should probably be writing these down. I don't have a pencil. 51 3/8, 137 1/8 strong, and then I need my overall number, 184 3/4. And the next thing I need to know is I need to know what my cutout is. So what I'll do is I will go from this face up the angle to where I want my cutout to be. Well, I think she's cut right. I think I did everything the proper way. Just if my measurements are right, it should go in there. Now, obviously, there's no way I can do this by hand by myself, so I need to get Steph. But I don't think she's camera ready, so I'm not going to be able to film this going in. But I will let you know how many times it took me. I promise you I will. I won't lie. Okay, Steph came out, and we did try to just test fit it. All the cuts are good, except I didn't take enough out of this. It's hitting, the space is hitting before anything else does. So I need to take a little bit more of that out, probably a 1/4 inch. All right, the beautiful Miss Stephanie has clothes on now, and we're gonna see if this piece fits after I modified it. Hey.
Yeah.
Nice work. I think it's good. It's to my chalk line. It looks straight down the run there. And it's a good cut here where the stone will come up. Remember, the evolved stone will just come right here and cover that gap, and it'll look sweet. So again, I'm laying in bed last night. It's about 11 o'clock. I can't sleep. And all of a sudden, I'm like, boom! Holy crap! I was like, I never installed the freaking light. This is a toggle switch for an igniter for the gas logs. And I never put the switch in. I was like, oh my gosh, if I would have forgot that and Dom would have came and we would have done all the stone, I would have been screwed. So thank God that I put these in with just screws, this other piece. Remember, I had this off for when the plumber could get in there. So I believe there's a spot right down there that's got a hole that reaches under here. You can see that. So what I need to do is I need to put this new outlet box. Sorry, it's 6:30 at night on a Wednesday. I need to put this new outlet box in here somewhere and then put this piece back in there and then stone around it. So I guess I probably need to pack that out a little bit just so that it's not so close to the thing. So if I put that piece there, I'll pack it out and then put the switch there. And I'm thinking a switch there. So there's probably gonna be a shelf around here somewhere. So that should be good. And then another shelf up top. So I don't want it too conspicuous. Just want to be able to reach around and hit it and just flip the switch on. So let me get that outlet in and this switch in and put together so I don't have a heart attack. Crisis diverted. have all my ceiling material in here out of the garage because that was driving me absolutely bat crazy. But the rest of the structure is not quite cleaned up. So maybe I can get Bob. He loves to come out and straighten up and tittle around. So maybe I can get him to come out and clean some of this up tomorrow would be great.